Following the incredible success of I Create Online last year, the ICO are proudly launching our new series of short videos. And I've got Cathriona Murphy, the Deputy CEO of the Irish Chamber Orchestra, with me today to talk about some of our new projects. Cathriona, how are you today?
I'm great, Matthew. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Have you had a lot of snow?
Not a lot of snow, a bit of a blizzard, but it didn't last, so no white to be seen anywhere.
It's all gone, okay. Now, I just wonder, before we get on to what's coming up in the next month or so, can you remind us, what is I Create Online?
So I Create Online was born out of lockdown, a play on Irish Chamber Orchestra, and it was a 4-part mini-series that we launched last November, and it involved a cross-collaboration between different art forms and the Irish Chamber Orchestra.
It sounds as if it's become a really integral part of the ICO's online programming. And I just wonder, how has that come about? Why has it become so important to the orchestra?
Like all art, it's a form of expression, and it's a vehicle to reflect on the times that we live in. And these cross collaborations were an opportunity for the orchestra to stay engaged with other artists, fellow artists, and also with our audience. So we got fantastic feedback to our 2020 output. So we obviously decided to continue with it into 2021.
Yeah, and I know that there's a kind of social media team that put all of this together, but what actually is your role in it? What do you do?
I chair the team, the creative team within the Irish Chamber Orchestra. So we have yourself, and we have Charlotte Eglinton that you interviewed last week, and we have Joanne Tierney, and she's our development manager, and we have Ronan, and he is our new marketing manager. So we meet on a weekly basis just to discuss online content and outputs, and it's a real think tank, and we come up with ideas of what's going to engage not only our orchestra but other artists and our audiences.
I'm just curious really to kind of try and dig a bit deeper about where some of the actual ideas come from.
I suppose in the start, the I Create Online concept wasn't the concept. It started off with just we weren't having concerts, we didn't have a way to engage with each other, so we were all remote, we were all working remotely from home. So we just did a small collaboration, started off with what ended up being a new dawn, which was the collaboration between our cellist Christine Elliott and aerial dancer Aisling Nichali. And that was the first short that we did. And I suppose from that then stemmed the idea of, okay, this collaboration worked, it worked really well. Who else can we engage with? What other artists are around? And, everybody fed into that process. So somebody knows a videographer, somebody else knows a photographer, somebody else knows a dancer. So from that, the whole thing evolved. And obviously we take feed in from our board, and Jerry, our CEO, and Margaret, our accounts managers, and Catherine Barnicat, our education and outreach manager. So everybody plays their part, and everybody has ideas, and we're an open shop. We take ideas from wherever they come. We're not exclusive.
Something that I really enjoy about it is this sense that the way that the ideas are formed, as you've described, that everybody within the organisation collaborates, and then as an organisation we collaborate with people outside. Can you give us some inside information about what's coming up?
I absolutely can. So we are launching our 2021 I Create Online series on the 25th of February. And the first piece that we're doing is a contemporary mime piece, and it's called Still Hope. And it's a collaboration between contemporary mime artist Simon Thompson and filmmaker Dominic Koshitsky, and also the Irish Chamber Orchestra.
Can you tell me something about what people can expect to see?
This short is imbued with a sense of longing and loss and separation and hope, and it traces one man's soulful journey through the streets of Limerick City.
And what about the music?
The soundscape for this piece is an abridged version of what Jorg would describe as a fantasy on Mendelssohn's Andante. It's a powerfully evocative piece, and it's a perfect accompaniment to this gorgeous film.
So that's the first one. Could you tell everybody something about the next one?
Yeah, so the second one will be launched then on the 25th of March, and it's a maritime film production, and it's called Fia's Voyage. So this short film will take us on a maritime adventure through the eyes of a gannet, and the gannet's name is Fia. Kerry-based Vincent Hyland is the creative genius behind this piece, and he is a wildlife and underwater filmmaker. I think it's just interesting to say as well that the piece is narrated by ICO's violinist and recently a TikTok sensation, Unico.
Mm-hmm. And was he inspired by the music? How did the music fit with the video?
Vincent took his inspiration from Mendelssohn's Hebrides Overture, and interestingly, Mendelssohn took his inspiration from a boat trip to the Hebrides back in, I think it was 1829, 1830.
And then we've got a third one, which we're going to release, I think, is that in April?
Yeah, April 29th. It's called Eternal Blooms.
Mm-hmm. And tell me something about that one.
So Eternal Blooms is a collaboration between illustrator and printmaker Eva Byrne, ICO leader Catherine Hunke, guitarist Jimmy Smith, and filmmaker Dominic Koshitsky.
And without giving too much away, can you tell me a little bit more about what the piece is about?
So love and loss are the inspiration for this piece. So in the early stages, ICO leader Catherine Hunke would have spoken to Eva Byrne about the music that inspires her or her favourite piece of music. And she picked The Unquiet Grave, which Luke Kelly's rendition specifically of The Unquiet Grave. So Catherine went and she enlisted Jimmy Smith, and they did a gorgeous arrangement of that piece. And then Eva created her piece around that, and that Unquiet Grave and that music reminded her of a story of her daughter Polly. This piece reminds me of the cyclical nature of life and the importance of living in the now, and that ultimately art will outlive all of us.
Where do people find these things, and where do they find out about them?
So if you go onto any of our social media channels or our website, you'll find the links. You can just check out www.irishchamberorchestra.com.
I understand we've had a significant growth in followers across our social media platforms. Could you just quickly tell us something about that?
Yes, we've had a huge spike in engagement through all our online content last year. So our website traffic is up 160%. COVID Captured alone, we had over 200,000 views on that. And we made the national news 3 times last year, so we're not doing too bad.
Fantastic. It sounds like it's been a very exciting time for the ICO, and in fact it's going to continue to be a really exciting time. Thank you so much for taking the time, Cathriona. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Matthew. Great talking to you.
Take care.
Bye.